So I am really lucky today because I have with me Jo, who's the creator of the Life Sorted app. She is also a mum to two teenagers, and she was actually a hairdresser before being an app creator. And she also created the app Shortcuts for hairdressers. So welcome, Jo.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
First thing I would love to start with is if you could share just one of your struggles as a mum that you've had.
Okay, I was thinking hard about this because there are so many struggles as mums, as we all know, right? I think my biggest struggle was juggling all the things, right? And I know that's a lot of things, but it's this one encompassing thing, that brain clutter that comes from having to manage where the kids need to be, time for work, me time, appointments, getting kids to doctors and dentists and after school and music instruments and lunches and the house. And I guess it's the one thing is juggling all of that that makes up our modern day family lives, I guess.
And I can see that. That is why, obviously, you created the app to help you with that struggle.
Oh, it's definitely one of the main reasons, because I tried to find a way because I'm an organised person, I tried to find ways to organise all of those things, and I was struggling to find one place to do it all. So, yeah, that's where it came from.
So what would be your 3 tips that you would give mums to be more organised?
Okay, cool, yeah. Well, for me, it's about being organised and also productive. So how do we make the most of our, precious time that we have? One technique that I use all the time, I call it the 4Ds, is how to manage all of the incoming stuff. So if you imagine that our brains are like an inbox and we've got all this stuff coming in, and if we keep piling up the inbox, it overflows and there's stuff all over the floor and we forget stuff and the dog eats it and it becomes a nightmare. So I have sort of come up with a system that works for me for managing that, and I call it the 4Ds. So the first one is do it. So if it's something that you can do straight away within a minute or 2 minutes and you've got the time, do it, get it done, and then it's in and out of the inbox. If you can't do it straight away, defer it. So that means putting it on your list, putting it in your calendar, getting it out of your mind to say, I'm going to do that tomorrow, I'm going to do that next Friday. What a lot of us do, I find, is we go, I must do that, and we don't do anything with that information. And we keep reminding ourselves every day, I must do that, I must do that, I must do that. And I think that is part of the problem. So if you write it down or you put it into a system and defer it, the third D is delegate it. Can someone else do it? Does it have to be me? I think as mums, we take on the responsibility of having to do all the things, where maybe my husband can do it, maybe the kids could do it, etc. So figure out that and delegate it and move it out of the inbox. And then the last one is, do I even need to do it? And if you don't need to do it, delete it. It's gone. The thought comes in, something comes in, you're not interested in that thing, delete it. Don't let it sit and roll around your head. Because it just takes up space. So that's what I call my 4Ds. So do it, defer it, delegate it, or delete it.
Yeah, love that, especially the number one, because if we do not write it down or do it straight away, it's just going to keep going over in our mind, and it comes up in our sleep, and it just keeps going.
As your children get bigger, the amount of stuff coming in increases. So when, if you're an organised person like I was, just managing my own stuff, I was pretty okay with that. But when I had 2 kids and then a husband to have to deal with, I was like, I can't do this. I need a system.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that's one. The second tip I have is, not overcommitting to stuff. And the way to do that, and to decide whether it's something you need to do or not, is determine or understand the difference between urgent things and important things. So when I interviewed a whole heap of busy mums, I found out that most of the top 5 most important things to busy mums and families is quality time with the kids, preparing healthy meals, sitting down as a family together and eating, regular exercise, and quality sleep. So they were the top 5 out of a bunch of different things that they could choose from. So they are what I would call important things. So if something comes in that's aligned with your important things, make time for that. And then the urgent stuff always gets done and it just fits in around that. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely. And I completely agree. They'd be the 5 top things that I hear mums that I coach.
Yeah.
They're the 5 things that they're always saying, that they're the things that they must have in their lives. And that's when they're getting overwhelmed because they're trying to juggle those extra things. And it's like, okay, well, if it's a priority, then maybe let it go.
Yeah, and because you think that the urgent things are also important, but so if you actually determine for you, your family, what's important to you right now, it really helps. And you know what? That out of the women that we surveyed to find out what was important versus urgent, 76% of the people said they didn't get enough time in their week for those important things. So I think that's something we really need to be aware of.
Definitely. Yep.
So that's my second thing. And then my third thing is deciding, because I obviously work, and so this is for, juggling work and family. I decide before I start work on anything what time I'm going to finish, because I tend to be, and I think there's a lot of other people like me, I would just work forever and ever and ever. Like it just fills up, right? That bucket fills up. But if there's something that triggers in your brain that in the morning, if you say, I'm going to finish at 4 o'clock today, what happens is at around about 3 o'clock, you start thinking, how do I get everything wrapped up so that I can finish at 4? Whereas if there's no end time, and if you work from home especially, it just keeps going on and on and on, and I could work till 10 o'clock at night if I didn't say, I'm going to finish at 4. My brain doesn't sort of start to wind up. I just always find that extra little thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome tip, saying that time so your brain is getting prepared and you can then be more present, isn't it, in the rest of the day?
Yeah, because what's important is making meals for the family and sitting down. If you just keep working and then you're doing that as a bit of a side task, it doesn't achieve your goals.
And I don't know if you find it, but then you're not even probably doing that task very well either, are you?
You're doing lots of things not very well. We're all guilty of it though, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And we just need that reminder every now and then to come back and to be present and look at our values, isn't it? Like you said before.
Yep, totally.
What the top 5 values are for your family. So what about you then? How do you find some time for yourself? What is sort of your 2 top non-negotiables for your week or day even?
Yeah, cool. Well, a non-negotiable for me is exercise. I have to do some form of exercise every day. I don't necessarily feel like it, let's face it, but it always helps me, and I know that I feel better on the days where I exercise. I exercise first thing in the morning. If I don't do it first up before everyone else is awake, it just doesn't happen. So I've realised over the years that the more consistent I am with exercise and raising my heart rate and getting rid of some of the stuff from the day before, I'm more in control of my day, and it just runs a bit smoother if I've exercise. So I try and do that. Although having said that, I don't do that on the weekends. So Saturday and Sunday I don't get up early, but I do try and get in a walk or something like that throughout the day. I think you've got to move physically. Very easy for us to sit in front of the TV or in front of our computers, and before we know it, realise that we haven't done any exercise. So that's a non-negotiable for me. And the second one is me time, and finding some time every week. It's probably I try and find it every day. Exercise is me time, so I do that every day. But on top of that, for me, it's generally something that I do with my hands. So I'll paint a piece of furniture, or I'll make a wall hanging, or paint a wall, or go shopping, or just something that is just for me.
Sorry. And it sounds like creative, like you're very creative, and I have seen some of your beautiful works that you've done.
I find that because I'm a hairdresser, as you said, I think that doing things with your hand and the left-right brain thing, I have to, even though I create a lot of things digitally and I write and all that sort of stuff, there's something about doing things with your hands that I need. Not everybody necessarily needs it, but I know that I do.
Yeah, that's great. Just recognizing your own needs, and that it's your hands are what you need to actually get your brain working and feel full up, that you can keep going with the rest of the day, isn't it?
I think if if you find your thing, if it gives you joy and you get lost for hours, I can literally go, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for 5 hours, and it just goes in a nanosecond. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it great, that flow state, when we get into flow state?
Yeah, that's it. Flow state. I love it. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about Life Sorted? I did a little how I use it and shared it last week and shared it in the group last night. But I'd love you to share a bit about how you...
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. I love seeing that. Like, it totally warms my heart when I see people and how they use it, because I know how I use it, but it's great to see other families getting benefit from it. So, yeah, essentially, it was about 4 years ago when my kids were in late primary school and early high school, where things just got next level crazy. And none of my systems were working. So I had a calendar, which, literally was never more than arm's length away. And, I had heart palpitations if I thought I'd left it somewhere, because it was my life. And then I realized that I needed more visibility, that I was basically the guardian of all of the information in the calendar or in the diary. And it was up to me to make sure that everyone knew where they needed to be and what they needed to have. And everyone sort of just fell into that role of like, Mum's got her diary, she's going to let us know when stuff happens. And because I got so busy with my own work, I wasn't managing that very well. There was a billion texts and emails and stuff when things changed. So I went on a mission to try and find a better solution. And I did, elaborate spreadsheets that I put on the fridge and wall planners. And it was when I was in my Post-it note phase that the aha moment for Life Sorted came. And so I tell this story because I don't know if anyone else is as crazy as me, but I had in my walk-in wardrobe, a big mirror when I'd get ready. And you're often thinking about things while you're doing things like that, getting ready or in the shower or whatever. So I had a pad of Post-it notes, and I started popping them on the mirror of, like, get toilet paper, or 4 o'clock, the painter's coming, or whatever else. And I found that it actually worked really well for me. So I ended up putting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then dates out into the future, and I'd pop things underneath and I'd move them along to different days. But what happened is my family started, when they would come through to my walk-in wardrobe to the bathroom, or my husband would use it, they started noticing things. And, my husband would come home with the toilet paper, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you know we need toilet paper? And he was like, because I saw the Post-it note. And I was like, yes, this is working. This is the best system. And so, being a technology lover, being involved with shortcuts for so many years, I was like, okay, I need an app. And I went looking for an app, and I found quite a few good apps, but none of them did everything. And I wanted something for everything. So, my calendar, my to-do list, my shopping list, birthdays, when did I need to buy people presents and stuff, and couldn't find anything. So decided to create it. And, I had a good friend, Vince, who's very clever on the technical side of things. And I told him about my dream for the ultimate family organizer. And he was like, I really need that too. And I was like, okay, I found my man. So we are just a really small team, and it's taken us 2 years to get to this point. And so the app is available. It's called Life Sorted. You can get it from the website if you want to use it on your computer. Or you can get it from the app stores, Apple and Android. So just search for Life Sorted app and you should find it. And we're currently in the beta phase. So that means we're testing with families. We have about 2,000 or a bit more than 2,000 families currently using the app, and they are amazing. Just getting such great feedback from them. So yeah, we're going to be launching officially soon. So yeah, if any of your guys want to jump on, now's the time. It's free. So yeah, lifesorted.com, and you should find links to everything from there.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. And I think the bit that I loved, which has made us continue using it, and probably me encouraging, is that it's not just me now doing all that. And I've noticed Sean taking on so much more now that maybe I've released the diary. And yeah, and he can access it and he can get the things that we need, or just reminding him to pick up the kids, or and definitely when we went to Queensland and we caught up, I think that was a really great trial for it, because I just put everything in there and I didn't ring, apart from to say hi to them, I didn't ring to be saying, oh, did you get this? Did you pick up the present? Everything was in there. And I was just like, and there was no post-it notes, which is what I'd usually done. So and it worked really well. And, you know, I had a few things last year which I was not around, and life just seemed to work out a lot better having life sorted in our life. So
that's great. I'm so pleased to hear that. Yeah, I think that was one of the things for me too, is I was so, and you know, I think other mums can relate to this, I was sick of talking about the schedule, you know, constantly talking about it. Whereas now in my family, if I ask, you know, if I say to my daughter, you know, when's your next shift at work? She's like, check, I've sorted. She's like, you know, we don't talk about that stuff anymore. And that to me is like a huge, huge relief.
Yeah.
When we talk about more important things.
Yeah, no, that's great. And even just seeing little videos then of what you've done, because I hadn't added birthdays and my term dates. So last week, that's when I was doing it. And I thought, I should do a video of this. I've added all of those. So there's so many, and the to-do lists, which are great. They've been really useful too.
I think it takes time, doesn't it, to form a new habit. And, you know, it's not like you'll instantly download an app and all your problems are solved. You've got to make it part of your life, and you've got to make it something that you use every day. And that takes time.
Definitely baby steps. So for us, it was like the shared calendar, and then it was slowly moving on to the shared to-do list, and then now finally the birthdays and the term dates and setting all that up. So thank you so much for your time, Jo, and I can't wait to see all the new versions and everything else, and to hear how the launch goes as well.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining. See you, Jo. Bye.